Good evening. Welcome to On Another Level Book Club, Authors Babble. Tonight we're getting up close and personal with Miss Chyrel Jackson, author of Different Sides of the Same Coin. Welcome, Miss Jackson, and thank you for joining us on this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so share a little something with us about yourself.
Well, obviously, I love to write. I'm an avid reader. I love exercise.
Okay.
And actually, one of my favorite writers in the whole world is my sister, whom I wrote our book of poems with, Loris B. Wallace.
Mhm.
So that was kind of fun being able to write a book with someone you love.
Right, right. So I thought it was unique that you and your sister co-authored a book. So, is this a passion that both of you had growing up?
It is, but we had it initially for different reasons.
Mhm.
I was always a good student. I was an English literature major in college. My
Mhm.
sister was a mediocre student and she hated to read. But
Mhm.
my sister started keeping a secret journal. I wrote the whole time and I would share my writings with my sister.
Mhm.
She was writing the whole time, but she journaled. And so she kept it secret.
Mhm.
So when I finally came across the journal and being her sister, and the older sister by a year, I started reading her entries. And I said, I had no idea that you had this kind of depth and talent. I said, I never knew. And she said, what? She was so surprised. She
Uh-huh.
said, you really like them? I said, are you kidding me? I said, we have to write a book together. And then I told her, using the older sister, I kind of bullied her. I said, "You're writing a book with me. We're doing a book," and so that's what happened.
Interesting. So, do you find that you guys have different styles of poetry writing?
I missed some of the question.
Do you find that you guys have different styles of writing when it comes to writing poetry?
We do, actually, we do because I'm very literal, and she's so talented. I wish I had her depth.
Mhm.
She's very good with using metaphors and
Gotcha.
symbolism
Mhm.
and imagery. So she can say something like a whole different way of saying it.
Mhm.
And I'm a technical and much more literal writer.
Right.
So we're both emotional writers, but if I'm aggravated, I just know how to say, you have really teed me off.
Right.
She will say, oh, the storm is brewing, or, she knows how to,
Right.
she knows how to say it without just saying, I'm really angry with you right now.
Mhm.
So that's the big difference.
Okay. So, how long did it take the two of you to finish the book? Because I know you probably have different lives, different schedules. How was that trying to coordinate that to get it completed?
Okay, Sharon, this is I'm going to tell you the real skin here. My sister is talented, which means I was pretty much at her mercy. And because I believed in her talent so much,
Hmm.
and because I am her biggest fan, she can only write when she has a muse or she has some type of inspiration.
Okay.
Because I've been writing longer and because I am so technical, I
Mm-hmm.
can sit at a computer and carve out space and time and just start to write. Loris is not that kind of writer. She's much more emotional and she
Mm-hmm.
has to be inspired. So I was really like at my wits' end with her, and we would a little bit be having disagreements because I would say to her, "You have to be conscientious of deadlines,"
Right.
and she just has no inkling. She's her thing is I have to feel a click. There has to be a click in order for me
Mm-hmm.
to write and see something through. And I'm giving her the side eye and the eye roll, like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, because it's so easy for me to sit in front of a computer or get my journal and just kind of bang out 5 or 10 different things. Well,
Right.
she has to have inspiration. And so she doesn't write like that. And that's what we clash over. That's kind of why we're clashing quite a bit.
Okay. So I know you say you found a journal of hers and read through it. Did she have anything that was already written from just past journaling that she can use, or did she have to start anew and write new material?
Not at all, Sharon. We literally had 20 years of writings that we both had, and we just pulled them down. My
Mm-hmm.
father was sick with cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "I really want in my lifetime, before I die, I'd like to see your writings, all of them compiled,
Mm-hmm.
in one setting where I can just read all of them." And that, along with, um, we tell our kids, our daughters, to be brave and to be all of these things. But I was a little timid about writing and going public with it. But um, just like I am my sister's biggest fan and she's mine, um, I have a daughter that's like my biggest fan. And so she was giving me the side eye and the eye roll, like, "You got to be kidding, Mom. Really? You're going to like to sit on all of these writings when you tell me all the time to live my dreams and be brave and be daring.
Mm-hmm.
And you're really, really going to sit on all these wonderful writings."
Uh-huh. Conviction right there, right?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've written this book together. What was the most difficult part of the writing process?
For me, honestly, Sharon, the most difficult part of the writing process is the the story. You have the story in your head of how you
Mm-hmm.
want it told, but it's the assembling the literal story. That's the
Mm-hmm.
hardest part for me because it has to make sense. Like the book, Different Sides of the Same Coin,
Mm-hmm.
was born because me and my sister, we're extensions of each other. And so literally it's like when we're writing the second book now, this is a continuum of different
Mm-hmm.
sides of the same coin, but it is where we are at this present time in our life. We lost our dad in March of
Sorry.
of 20. He
Mm-hmm.
passed away. And so this book is, thank you so much. Different sides of the same coin, really. I like to think of it this way. We really paid homage to our mother. And so it had a lot of subtleties and references of her. She was our muse and our memory of her. And so she loved slave spirituals. And that's one of the things that we figured out individually and collectively together
Mm-hmm.
as a unit. Words manifest. We have a whole entire book of manifested words. And the power of the words is that when you release your pain, whatever it is, you can write it, you can read it, you can not speak it, you can put it in a poem. But when you release those words in the atmosphere, you
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge the pain that you're in, and you
Yes.
are instantly healed. You feel so relieved and like you have been validated just because you have released it.
Release it. Mm-hmm.
And so, because this was healing for us,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we want mostly. And mostly when people tell us, that's what they say about the book. They say, wow, we've read this book over and over again because so much of what you guys write about, we can totally relate to it.
Right. Right. So that was going to be my next question is, when you're writing a typical novel, you have a storyline, chronological storyline. How was it different with poetry, trying to figure out an overall theme? Do you go with an overall theme for the book or chapters, or how did you guys agree and come up with?
My sister, she has been since we were like really small. She refers to me still as Wonder Woman because she's my Isis. So literally, that's that older sister thing. I have something in my head because I knew that I wanted to use um, Negro spirituals.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I was not going to not put a book together and have incorporate those things in the book.
Right.
So book two is it's pretty much a continuation.
Oh,
So I already know that blues and jazz, that this is going to be a because this is my dad's book, so it's got to um, it's going to have a lot of his blues and his jazz to kind of reflect who he was as a person.
mhm. I like that. Okay. Okay. So what about the publishing aspect of it? Did you guys self-publish, or are you with a company? How was that process?
Okay, this is where the dream scape comes into play here. We
Mhm.
are independently published,
Okay.
um, and we're self-published. So what we're hoping is, what we're hoping is that once we have like 3 books in, we're hoping that a publishing house, a traditional publishing house, will see
Hmm.
those works and say, "Hey, all right, we would like to kind of re-release all
Okay.
of your work, and we would do like a 4th or 5th, however that would work."
Okay. That makes sense. We're gonna speak that into an existence. Okay. Someone's gonna pick it up and re-release it. A publishing company. Okay. So
Right. That's what I'm hoping.
mhm. I asked you to choose a couple of poems that you want to share with our listening audience. Do you mind sharing a poem with us?
Not at all. I'm going to do International Casanova, and that is in my portion of the book. And so
Mm-hmm.
I've got to find it here. And I can't find it. Okay, let me go to the okay, International Casanova on page 41.
And while you're looking for the poem, do you mind going ahead and
Okay.
sharing with our viewing audience how you
And
can
it
be
goes,
contacted and also where your book can be purchased?
okay, okay. We can be contacted. Hit our website up. It's Sisters, Sisters, Rock, ROC, N as in Nancy, Rhyme, RHYME.com. Sisters Rock and Rhyme. If you access our website, you will be able to get all of our social media handles.
Oh, okay.
And the book is available on Amazon and Walmart.com.
Okay, are you ready for International Casanova? By the way, this is one of my favorite poems, guys, so pay attention.
I'm ready. So I'm going to have a little bit of fun with this only because you have to read it a certain way.
Right.
Let me be perfectly clear. You really played yourself. Do I look like I'm in the mood to deal with your nonsense today? That would be a resounding no. I am not Bank of America, and magical fairies aren't hiding out in my wallet, creating money like fairy dust to make your frivolous dreams come true. You earned that read and then some.
Mm.
I mean, really, what nerve? When you promote yourself and access all over social media, don't look wounded when I draw the line at your attempted victimization of me. I will not be supplementing your monetary shortfall today. My advice to the international Casanova: you probably should stay off social media promoting yourself. It is truly quite revealing. Italy is very expensive. But, sweetheart, when I tell you that I can't be your personal golden goose, I mean that. You have me confused with Rumpelstiltskin, and I absolutely am not able to spin straw into gold to furnish your return from traveling abroad living expenses. You, sir, have totally earned the full vent of my attitude, wrath, and ire. Today, you played yourself, and I am one full and completely fed up black woman.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Period, as the kids say it these days. So tell us, what was the inspiration? Where did that come about?
Okay, I I'm a do right
Mm-hmm.
person, and I hate usurious people. And I had shown myself friendly, and I lent someone some money. And that's the thing when you encounter a user or a
Mm-hmm.
usurious person, they have no stopgap, they have no ability to control themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they come back, they always come back.
Mm-hmm.
And because they came back, and like I said, I had seen through various social media outlets that this
Mm-hmm.
person was planning trips and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, now, wait a minute. If you have money to travel with,
Right.
I think I'm being played here. And so that is where that piece came from.
Totally relatable. Totally relatable. Okay, so be prepared to read another one later on. Okay, I'm gonna give you time to kind of find another one. So we spoke earlier, and you said you guys are working on part two, another part of the book, but you're also working on a
Yes.
novel.
Yes.
Can you give us a little sneak peek into what's to come when it comes to your novel that you're working on?
Oh, absolutely. It's a fictional family drama. And that drama is going to really, really make, for the young folks who don't remember Dallas and Dynasty, it's going to make that really look tame. But
Okay.
it is Young and the Restless,
Hmm.
except black. It's
Okay.
drama, drama, and more drama.
So when can we expect the second part, and when can we expect the novel?
Okay, this is the game plan. We prayerfully hope to have uh, the poetry book part two, which is mirrored images, out in the fall. And we're going to come right on the heels of that. And probably, I'm trying to space it out a little bit, but I'm
Uh-huh.
hoping like around January to come back with the fictional family drama, book three.
Okay. So we'll be looking forward to that. Now, do you read your book reviews? And if so, how do you deal with your bad and good reviews?
Um, you really, you cannot have a thin skin,
Right.
okay? Because poetry, like cars, and quite frankly, human beings, is subjective. So not
Mm-hmm.
everyone is going to get the same thing. You know, there are universal messages that everyone can get, but not everyone, quite frankly, loves poetry. Some people, quite frankly, can't stand it, especially if
Right.
it doesn't rhyme. To them,
Mm-hmm.
poetry, it has to rhyme. So you're going to get some reviews that aren't as stellar as you would like them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Quite frankly, Sharon, I ignore quite a bit.
Okay.
I ignore quite a bit. And that's not to say that I'm ignoring that person, but I understand that I can't take that and be too personal with it, because I do understand that people have different tastes. And so,
Right.
someone, quite frankly, we don't typically get bad reviews. We've
Mm-hmm.
gotten rave reviews. So you're accustomed to getting good reviews. So when you get a bad one, you're like, what?
Right. Right. So we often have viewers who are interested in becoming writers or writing a book, but they have a tendency to be a little fearful in taking that step of faith, that leap of faith. What advice could you give to aspiring authors that may be viewing us on today?
My advice is, no one can tell your story like you can tell it.
Mm-hmm.
And you should never entrust that to anyone else, because they are not going to do it in the same way that you do it. So why would you entrust that to somebody else? Tell your story, write your stories. we were very fortunate in that we went to college and we were young girls, black girls, growing up in a predominantly Caucasian suburb. So we didn't have the
Mm-hmm.
benefit of having all of these intrinsic experiences with people that look like me and you, Sharon.
Right.
Quite
Mm-hmm.
naturally, when we had to interact with people, they
Mm-hmm.
didn't look like us. So we got our first introductions of racism. We got our first introductions of a lot of stuff that we would rather just forget
Right.
about. But we did get, we got some of that, the name calling and the N words and stuff like that. So when we went to
Mm-hmm.
college, we were reading things like Zora Neale Hurston, Sonia Sanchez, Gwendolyn
Mm-hmm.
Brooks, Nikki Giovanni, and it
Yeah.
blew our minds because for the first time in our lives as young black girls in college, James Baldwin was speaking to us
Mm-hmm.
about black people, about our experiences. So that's what you get when you write. And if you tell your own story, you can tell it how you want to tell it. And that's what I encourage anybody that wants to write. That's what I encourage them to do. Tell your story.
Right. Right. And I've noticed that, just like music, poetry is so healing and it allows you to release a lot just internally. And over the years, it seems like poetry has just fallen from the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people just need to just try it. You know how you say, just try it. If you feel like you don't like poetry, have you tried it? Because sometimes, as in your book, I mean, you can relate, and it's a way to just release and realize that you're not alone in it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
That's the blessing too person of having a person to write
and,
with you. You get to bounce things off of them. Well, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? But a lot of people don't have that. But what you do have is you have a pad, a paper, or you have one of those voice recorders
mhm,
in your phone, and you could put stuff in there and just
right.
play it back and see how you feel about it.
That's a good idea. Hadn't thought of that. Okay, so at this time, we're going to transition over
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to play a little game. I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to kind of peel the onion and get to know, well, peel the layers of the onions and get to know you a little bit deeper, okay? Alrighty.
Okay.
First questions. What is your favorite thing about yourself?
What is the um I like I'm smart.
Okay, so
I've been
you say
told
you're
that
smart.
I'm fairly intelligent. So I like I'm smart.
Okay. Next question. Um, what was the moment that you felt most motivated? What was a moment where you felt most motivated?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think I felt most motivated when I got the release date of when our book was dropping. Because then it was more like we did it, we did it.
Hmm.
And so if you do one, the motivation was we can do another one. So
Mm,
that was when I think I was my most motivated.
okay. If you could go back to an earlier age, what age would you go back to?
I loved I loved 15 and 16 because when you're that age, you can work all day and you only can survive off of 4 hours of sleep.
Okay. Next question. Do you believe in love at first sight? Mm,
I I I believe in strong like at first sight. Because if I can't have a
okay.
conversation with you to figure out how your
Mm,
mind works, for me, there can't be love until I know how your mind works.
right, right.
I have to know what kind of person you are. I have to connect with you on some level that
I,
would allow me to see more than just the physical.
I agree. Okay, last question. If you won the lottery, what would your today look like in 5 years? If you won the lottery, what would today look like in 5 years? Money not option.
Boy, I would be able to just do what I love and not have to have a full-time 9 to 5. So I would just write and write and write and write and
Mhm.
write. That's what it would look like for me.
Okay. Thank you for playing along with us and being honest. At this time, I'm going to ask you to share your next poem with us. You have one prepared, ready for us? I think we may be frozen. So we're going to give her time to connect back with us. We do want you to go and purchase her book. You can purchase the book at Amazon.com or Walmart.com. And the name of the book again is Different Sides of the Same Coin. It's a book of poetry written by two sisters. The book was dedicated or written with their mother in mind. Miss Cheryl Jackson and her sister have another book, another poetry book on the way that's dedicated to her mom, and a novel, a family drama novel that's something for us to look forward to. If you have any questions, please. The second book of poetry is honored, will honor their father who passed away recently. If you have any questions, please go ahead and type those in the chat. And we're going to be, after Miss Jackson returns, we're going to have her read another one of her poems. And then we're going to move on to a question from my audience member. But we really want you to support Miss Jackson and her sister. One thing that we really want you to do is to support the authors that we bring on because it's during this time it's difficult for them to travel and promote their book, but we want to use this as a platform for them to share their writing and their manuscripts with the community. And we really want to motivate or encourage you to purchase the book. It's a quick read, and the poems are so relatable. And while she gone, look, I guess I'll go ahead and step in and read a poem. Okay, so this one is called Diminished. I'm definitely checking you out, just watching, saying very little, mostly observing the shift in the paradigm of your complicated mindset, trying to figure out exactly where it all went so wrong. When did I fall from the center of the universe? Was it all of a sudden that my value declined, lessened, decreased? Just simply diminished. Yes, I'm still quietly and silently observing you, and I have reached a few conclusions of my own. Your shift in mindset is not my lacking. You see, your warning interest, your whining interest has everything to do with your less than impressive place in my world. This is called Diminished. Welcome back, Miss Jackson. I just thought I'd read one of your poems until you came back with us.
Oh no, that's not a problem. I don't know. We kind of lost a connection momentarily.
Yeah, that's okay. Glad to have you back. Okay,
Thank you.
okay. Are you ready to share another poem with us? And then we'll move on to questions from our viewing
Sure,
audience.
sure. I'm going to read from my sister's portion of the book. This one is called, obviously, because we're in Black History. I got to do one for Black History.
I feel you.
Black like me. Black. Black like who? Black. Black like me. Black like you, black. So black, you're almost blue. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate, even white chocolate. Black. Black. Black like the night, smooth and bright. Black like the dark side of the moon. Rhythmically, erotically, black like a Miles Davis tune. So black, you're almost purple. Mystical, magical, downright mythological. Like Pharaoh inside his tomb. Black. Black like who? Black like me.
Like me. Like me. I like that. I like that. I like that. Yeah, very good. I like that. Okay, at this time, we're going to bring in our voice of reason, Miss Tony Duncan, and she's going to entertain questions from our viewing audience.
Hello. Currently, we don't have any questions in our queue for Miss Jackson.
Okay. Jackson. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to share with our viewing audience again where you can be contacted, and also where you can be My apologies. Yeah, she's left. Okay. We are having technical difficulties, as you can see. We do have storms coming through. So at this time, we're gonna close it down. We want to thank Miss Chyrel Jackson for joining us on today. It was a pleasure speaking with her and listening to some of her poems. Please go out and support her and purchase her book of poetry, Different Sides of the Same Coin. It can be purchased at walmart.com or amazon.com. All right, it's been great. We'll see you this time, same place next week. We'll be chatting it up with author Lawrence Darrington, the author of The Karma Club. This is On Another Level Book Club from Dallas, Texas. Stay safe and have a great night. And remember, reading gives us someplace to go when we have to stay where we are. Have a good night and stay safe and stay blessed.